Good morning to everyone. It is a treat for me to be here. This is the second time I've had the pleasure of being in Korea. The first was to go to Ewha University, which was very wonderful, and I'm glad to be here today. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart since my early days in graduate school nearly 40 years ago. So today, I just want to spend a few minutes sharing with you what I'm particularly passionate about right now, and that is to make certain that women have a leading role to play in science and technology globally. So what do we mean by leadership? Leadership is a very broad term. It includes anyone that wants to help lead the way. So even some of you younger students that I see in the audience, you are a leader today because you are here. I even saw a little girl back there, someone's daughter, and she's leading the way too at her young age. As a leader, as a lecturer, or someone supervising a laboratory, or someone that's simply advocating for science, or a management position, or a researcher. These are all leaders, and we need every single one of you. And we need to also make sure that we have men there to make sure that they are joining and supporting us in this leadership. I'm so pleased to see so many, both men here today, and particularly from Korea, that hold leadership positions. So there are many good reasons for having women lead the way in science and technology. And I have just listed a few here. And in fact, it's amazing the discovery that we are having with regards to what impact it has when there's a diverse workforce and a diverse leadership. As you can see here, from the Fortune 500 companies to the IT patents to the US firms around the world where diversity is very important, and that companies with a more diverse team have a much higher retention rate. And that's wonderful. And it was only just the last few days that Tom Cook of Apple noted publicly how important it was to have a diverse workforce. And so he is a leader too. Now, you will talk today about a lot of reasons why we need to take gender into account when it comes to product development. But it's not just gender, it's culture, it's race, it's choice of sexuality. That diversity of opinion in the design and makeup of anything that we do is important because that's inclusive. We've learned lessons from airbags that were created, designed for men that often killed women and children, to heart valves that the early ones were made for men, didn't fit so well for women, and voice recognition systems that recognized certain voices and not others. We've learned those lessons, and you will hear other examples today. But unfortunately, in every country in the world, women in science and technology positions are few in the top ranks, and we need to increase that. So as you can see here, with this pyramid, with the very low number of women at the top, we're used to seeing pyramids like this. And it's hard to get women up there. But I give the contrasting view of this is the proportion of men at the top. So it's a bit inverted here. So we have to work hard, and this is our challenge. Women in academia, a few statistics. I don't mean to pick on these particular countries, so don't get paranoid. But just as some example, in Australia, women hold fewer senior faculty positions than men and women and have lower pay and lower rank. In Canada, women professors earn, as you see, less than 90% of the full-time tenured male professors. In Europe, only 18% of full professorships in Europe. In my field of chemistry, in the United States, full professors is 6%. In physics, it's even lower. In India, in 2011, women held 3% of vice chancellor positions, compared to 0 in Hong Kong, 2.3 in Japan, and 15% in Malaysia. In the United States, only 10% of the National Academy elected members are women. That's very embarrassing. And as a National Academy member myself, I find that unacceptable. Why? You'll hear many factors, and the factors are different in different countries, but there are some common themes. In all the countries that I've worked in around the world, I hear the common theme of career-life balance, but there are other issues also. Inherent biases, heavier loads, family obligations, cultural expectations, which again vary by country to country, how much the husband helps with the housework and the raising of the children, and also inadequate mentoring, which means that in time, as that career ladder is ascended, women have the heavier load and get behind and sometimes stumble off of that ladder. This is talent that we cannot afford. Research shows that it's more difficult for women than men to be leaders. A number of reasons, but women find barriers at all levels. It's tougher for women to be selected. And women are evaluated more harshly in leadership roles. And that includes teaching evaluations in the United States, which even students show their bias against women in science and technology courses. So how does this impact innovation? Well, there are fewer women out there to counter those stereotypes that oftentimes are the biases against us, that plague our education, our hiring, our promotion in STEM fields. How does this impact innovation? Again, well, fewer women are role models, and we know that role models are very, very important. One hopes as a student at any stage in your career that you will have a clear path of the options that you have to go into industry, government, or academia. And if you have a good mentor, that path is very clear. But if you have no mentors, this is what that path looks like. If you have no role models, you can't see where that path leads you or how you get there. So role models are very important. And it's not just women role models. Men can be role models too, but they have to accept their position as wanting to help women, guide them along the way. Fewer women at the top level setting priority for science and technology is a real loss, including innovations that are particularly relevant to women, as you will talk about today. Diversity of opinions is essential. Problems are best solved when you have a diversity of opinions. All stages, and I list here the stages of problem solving. Every single one of those, every one, benefits from a room that has people from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different cultures, disabled or abled, gender, ethnicity, and race. How rich the diversity of ideas can be in all of these stages if everyone is included. So creating an inclusive working environment where all views can be expressed is key. And we don't have that in a lot of countries right now in science and technology and other forms of business in our society. And in many of our cultures and educational environments, disagreement is viewed or is perceived to be bad practice. I speak this from the heart, when in fact disagreement should be valued when given in a professional manner. It is an important element of the innovation process. So those of you younger in the group that have not learned this, please learn it now, because disagreement is a positive thing. For any of you that have raised children, you know that there's a time when your children will disagree with you. And you hope it's after the age of 3 or 4. But the whole point is, you should be happy when your children disagree with you, just as you should be happy when your students disagree with you. Because that means they're growing up and they're having their own opinions. And that means that they are fully embracing their choices. And so just as we have in a home, we must also value that in the workplace and encourage those that work for us and work with us to voice their opinions. I feel very strongly about this for women. And because of this, let me just finish with saying that 15 years ago, I started an organization called Coach. And what Coach does is to help women get their voice, help them to see the path towards success, help them reach leadership positions through a whole series, and career life balance through a series of different career building workshops that we've presented all over the world. We know from the US that we've had great success there in working with over 15,000 women scientists and engineers. And these are just pictures of all the wonderful women and men too who have benefited from our Coach workshops in all the different countries we've been working in. In fact, I leave Friday to do a series of workshops in India, and then we'll go on to Tunisia later in the fall. Let me give the plug, sponsored by Elsevier, and also Oman and various other countries in the lower Mekong River countries, of which I'm science envoy. So in conclusion, creating a workforce that embraces diversity in opinions and ideas is key to innovation. So let's make sure that women are full players in this. Thank you very much.